Today is a day that will live in infamy. Oh, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? What I've done is received a 1978 Ford Econoline-based Free Spirit Class C 28-foot motorhome. And I say received because the owner asked for no money. All the money that I spent on this went into the licensing, the registration, the insurance, and a bit of gas line and a few other things to get it into running shape. My friend Elliot actually has a video of us getting the silly thing going, so I'll link to that in the description. But here this thing is. It's at my house, and now I need to decide what to do with it. First of all, I'm sure most of you are asking, Zach, why did you buy this thing? Or rather, why were you gifted this thing? It's sat for over a decade, and it's filled with things you don't want to think about. Well, dear viewer, the simple answer is that it was free. The longer answer is it was free, and it had a working big block Ford 460 V8 engine. Hey! These things are built like a rock and will have torque for days. As it stands, there are one of two directions I could go. I could either clean it up and probably still have a fairly nice motorhome out of it. At the current moment, I've looked into it enough to see that it still has some solid bones underneath everything, and could probably be salvaged fairly well. The only issue with that is it would take a lot of time, a lot of work, and probably a lot of money, especially to reseal the outside, which would be one of my top priorities if I keep it as an RV. The second option that I'm considering is tearing off everything that's RV related and using it as a flatbed or a ramp truck. Reason being, we could really use a truck around the house. The 460 is an excellent motor for towing and hauling, and as you might have noticed, it's got an extra axle in addition to the dually drive axle that it already has, so it could carry a fair amount of weight once we get new tires. But I'm conflicted. I don't really quite know which way to go yet. I'd hate to tear everything out and turn it into a ramp truck if, it could be salvaged or if it was worth salvaging. Either way I go, it's gonna need a lot of work anyways. I'm gonna have to remove all of the previous owner's belongings because he couldn't be bothered to take out more than a couple fishing poles off the wall. I'm gonna have to remove over a decade of squirrel detritus and ants. I am gonna need to figure out exactly how far the structural damage goes, and so far, I'm going to say everything vehicle related seems to be just fine. It's the RV section, the wood sections in particular that have issues. That section over the cab is gonna need to be rebuilt if I ever do it as an RV, but it's gonna need new tires, it's gonna need a new battery. We're gonna have to look at the brakes, figure out exactly why it wants to go skiing every time you hit them. We're gonna need to inspect all the wiring and I'm guessing make a few repairs. I'd probably want to replace the glass fuse block with a blade-type fuse block, just for convenience sake, if nothing else. Probably need to replace the mechanical fuel pump with an electrical fuel pump. There's nothing wrong with the mechanical fuel pump, it ran just fine, but knowing that there's about, I'd say 20 feet of fuel line between the tank and the mechanical pump at the engine itself, if that thing ever goes dry, which I assume it will because it'll be sitting for a long time, it is going to be a pain to prime that pump. let me tell you. So yeah, I'd rather have an electrical pump. Still planning on keeping the mechanical pump, because like I said, nothing wrong with it, and keeping it as a backup isn't gonna hurt anything, so... I still need to test the hydraulic leveling system, see if that's still good, whether or not it works. I wonder if I can do that off the shore power. I might be able to. I've been fiddling with the shore power, and some things sort of work, some things don't. The lights and the fans for the oven turn off and on, which is nice. The fan in the bathroom went absolutely ballistic the first time I plugged it in. We're having issues with the interior air conditioner, though, and that's a big deal if I want to keep it as an RV. I mean, other than that, it might be nice to determine if the engine air conditioning works. We weren't able to test that when we were out on the road because it would have blown all kinds of fluff in my face that I didn't want in my face. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a project, no matter which way I look at it. And, you know, I'm open to suggestions if anyone has any. I've never really worked with an RV before. This is the first time. I've got a lot of resources on the internet, of course, but if anyone out there who happens to know anything about RVs happens to see this and wants to give me some advice, I'd greatly appreciate it. I'm kind of running under the assumption that if I keep it as an RV, it's going to cost a lot more to get it into the condition I would like it in, as opposed to transforming it into a ramp truck. I think doing the ramp truck conversion might be, well, it would definitely be simpler, because you just tear everything off, throw a flatbed on. But yeah, I'm not going to decide anytime too terribly soon. I don't have the money to decide anything too terribly soon, so for now, I'm just going to be cleaning, and more cleaning, and yes, and guess what? More cleaning. Until I can get it to a point where I decide what to do with it. I'll try my best to film updates and all that, and hopefully you guys enjoy, and thanks for watching.